Blood Fiends of Rivenspire? Lorbeck discovered by Nalana, advisor to House Tamarith. Tamarith? I have been tasked with learning everything that I can about the Blood Fiends that have been appearing throughout Rivenspire of late. These creatures appear to be exactly the same as other Blood Fiends we have examined in the past, but for all their similarities, they have one telling and significant difference. They appear at the beginning of the vampiric cycle instead of at the end. Instead of appearing at the end of an otherwise long and grueling vampiric gestation period, this process changes ordinary citizens into feral monsters in a frighteningly short amount of time. It's almost like a fevered blood affliction that burns through individuals at an alarming rate. While not everyone who comes in contact with the catalyst becomes afflicted, those who do either turn into a vampire, rarely, or quickly spiral into the frenzied madness that characterizes all blood fiends, the most likely outcome. My investigations suggest that these blood fiends have a connection to the Argonian Rizaljul and Lady Lareya Montclair. The court magician of House Montclair and the daughter of Baron Wylan Montclair have been leading Montclair troops across the Rivenspire, troops that include vampires. Interesting. I've never heard of that, having vampires in an army. It's definitely notable. There have been rumors of a blood curse, some sort of foul magic that allows Rizaljul and Lareya to turn ordinary citizens into blood fiends with nothing but a glance, wave of a hand, and a few muttered words. Eyewitness reports have been confused at best, and these claims have yet to be fully verified. As with other blood fiends dealt with in the past, the Rivenspire blood fiends are vampires that have gone insane. Their minds have degraded beyond recovery, and they attack anything that moves with no regard for their own well-being. They are feral, violent creatures, driven by their carnal lust for bones and blood. This strain of the blood curse runs its course at an alarmingly rapid pace. I have documented instances of citizens being afflicted and turning feral in mere moments. How Rizaljul and Lareya came by this terrible power is unknown. What is known is that they seem to be oblivion bent on helping Baron Montclair conquer the entirety of Rivenspire. They probably are getting some in return. This unusual blood curse notwithstanding, the blood fiends operate as all others of their ilk. These wild, ferocious savages can and often do pass their affliction on to their victims. Anyone wounded or killed by a Rivenspire blood fiend has a significant chance of becoming a blood fiend, and in a remarkably short period of time. Until I can gather more information, I can only recommend one course of action concerning the blood fiends of Rivenspire. They must be destroyed. Rebirth of the Blood Masters. That was it.
Of course,
we will rise again.
Alchemist has a secret door.
Rebirth.
Let's go.
Pretty obvious. I mean, the person said that there was a secret book, so it's kind of obvious that it was going to be a secret book. Book door. Ooh. Okay. So it seems like there's Harrow Fiends in here. Fun. Not really. I don't enjoy the Harrow Fiends. I know that we're gonna run into, like, Alessia at some point. This is an important book. House Raven... Excuse me! I am reading! Anyways. Oh, it disappeared.
How does it even grow down here? Watch your step, alright? Take it from a wood elf. Not all plants have your best interest in mind.
That is very, very true. They do love their infinite leveling in this series. Alright. Okay, so there's a person here. This seems pretty relevant. Hello?
Please, no more, Blood Queen. What? I can't see.
Okay, so those people doing the cleaning must have been vampires as well, not just like thralls. that have been afflicted in this way. Goodness gracious. What has happened to you?
What? Wait. Who are you? You're not here to prune me. It hurts so much. Sinia did this to me. The transformation didn't take hold, you see?
I was right.
My blood's too thin. Like water, she said. Thin as water.
Like more pure blood vampires is what they're searching for. Transformation? What transformation?
The Crimson Ascent. The journey to blood knighthood. It hurts. She twists your heart, your mind, draws out the wrath buried in the blood, makes you stronger, faster. All it costs is everything.
Let me help you down. You can tell me more about these blood knights.
No.
That's what blood knights are. I was like, what are these? Are these humans? Are
like
these
a raw nerve,
between?
an exposed vein. Please, just let me die. Stop,
Goodness
Sinia.
gracious.
Stop her blood knights. We forfeit our souls. Make it worth something. Make it.
I'll do what I can.
Senia means to turn a Dusa into one of these beasts? One of these blood knights?
Probably.
Not on my watch.
Research notes. Heir of the Verandis. By Lady Ascenia, Master Alchemist and High Chamberlain of Greymore Keep. Destiny smiles on my labors. An altogether unexpected specimen arrived on my doorstep. A specimen that could open a thrilling new avenue of study. This Khajiit calls herself Adusa Daro. When questioned about her vampiric origins, she became evasive and non-compliant. Even after the application of my truth serum, she refused to speak about it. It matters little. I deduced her lineage immediately. Her smug contempt for our work and dedication to secrecy stinks of the traitorous Verandis. She is right. May he suffer the sun for all time. Despite Verandis' low character, his blood holds intriguing properties. His insufferable temperance makes finding heirs very difficult indeed. For one to blithely wander through my gates could only be a sign of fate's delight in my great works. Verandis' blood is unique. With the proper reagents and preparations, I believe I could craft something truly awe-inspiring. A new slate of vampirism that could exceed even the oldest purebloods in power and potency. My blood knights might simply be the beginning, a herald of something truly spectacular. We shall see.
So, Ascenia needs an heir of Verandis?
Oh gosh.
Damn it.
Typical mad
What could
scientist.
the Count's bloodline have to do with this?
Well, that means you're in danger too, Blendis. Ah, let me go. Poison? What if I do? 229. Oh yeah. Much better. Oops, too far. Boop boop. Is that all we needed? Okay. Yes, that was all we needed to do. Okay, I didn't read this one. Tuwaka, Arcanes Xarxes? By Lady Cinnabar of Teneth. It's not uncommon for scholars to note the clear similarities between the god Xarxes, Arcae, and Tuwaka. For a particularly uninspired summary of the obvious, see Psychopops of Tamriel by that old bloviator Pharastus of Elenhir? Nearly every culture on the continent worships these deities in one form or another. Indeed, the Wood Elves of Valen would revere them both. I wish, in this brief disquisition, to pose several questions about the origins of these gods, and then speculate upon the answers to those questions. We begin with Xarxes, as his worship, at least as recorded in written history, predates that of both Arcae and Tuwaka. An elven deity who records the life stories of all the races of Eldmiri, Xarxes appears in multiple creation or origin stories, many of which are inconsistent with each other. While some of these origins may be false, their multiplicity may also merely be a reflection of Xarxes' manyfold nature. Interesting. In the two most common origin myths, Xerxes appears either as Ariel's scribe, recording events at his side since the beginning of time, or as a Merithic elf-married priest of Oriel who was elevated to divinity by the higher deity. The latter story is consistent with the High Elves' conceit that they are directly descended from the Aedra, and can, in certain miraculous circumstances, apotheosize and reascend to godly status. For the Altmer, Xerxes records not just the life stories of individual elves, but all the connections of lineage and heritage that bond them together and link them to their ancestors. As nothing is more important to an Altmer than his or her ancestry, it is easy to understand Xerxes' paramount role in defining and maintaining status and stability in Somerset society. Arche, of course, is one of the 8 divines that were presented in the newly freed citizens of Cyrodiil by Saint Alessia at the founding of the First Empire. The official dogma of the Church of 8 holds that Alessia was merely revealing to her subjects gods who had been watching over them all along. Scholarly research of documentary fragments that survive from the early of the First Era hint at a different story. Cosi's Tamrillian tractates are well known, but I have also had the privilege of studying Sandralas Netic oblations. Taking off my glasses, they're too smudgy to read. Are well known, but I've also had the privilege of studying Sandralas Netic oblations and the anonymous death song for King Daradil in their original manuscripts. Comparisons of the latter two against each other illuminated several previously obscure passages in both, and the resulting clarification was the impetus for this paper. To come to the point, I believe I may well finally have enough evidence to confirm Sedeltis' speculative, the theory of Archaean convergence. Most of my readers will doubtless be familiar with Sedulus's proposal that the Arche of the 8 divines is, in origin, a fusion of aspects of the elven deity Xerxes with those of the primal Atmoran death god Orche. Sounds pretty accurate. My new translation of the Death Song and its formerly ill-understood plea for soul guidance passages make it clear that the psychopomp being addressed possesses attributes of both the elven and Atmoran deities. And, once the proper vowel shift is applied, what is the name of this god? To'arka. Which brings us, inevitably, to the Yokudan deity Tuwaka. I see. How long was he worshipped in that name by the human tribes of Yokuda is now unknowable, as all our racist records were lost in the cataclysm that sank the archipelago. But even as old Frostus had the wits to note, it cannot be coincidence that Tuwaka performs the same functions for the Red Guards that Arche and Xerxes do for the Tamrielic men and Mer. Are these gods really separate and distinct deities, or are they all aspects of the same deity, worshipped under different names in different cultures? You must seek the answer elsewhere, for that is where scholarship ends and theology begins. That was really a long-winded way of saying, hey, these dudes are the same dude. It's just cultural differences of the same deity. Like, the innate human ability to want to see the same qualities in a god, no matter your culture. Alright, there's 4 books here. We'll read this one. Travels Around the Western Holds by Inky Claws. Would that my shell siblings had come with me on this journey to the vast north. Though on some days I do not blame them for choosing to remain in the tepid mud mass of Gideon. Western Skyrim and its dry skins are not accustomed to travelers from Blackmarsh, it seems. None at all. However, they appear more receptive to my kind than they are to their eastern neighbors. Milk drinkers, they say, and spit on the ground. What a waste of purposely good room. I assumed Western Skyrim was nothing but ice and rock, but there is much variety to be found in the different holds, as they call them, even if their names are odious to those without round tongues. Hafengar serves as the skull of the headdress, if Western Skyrim might be thought of as finery. Icy winds from the Sea of Ghosts blast the land and much of its barren coastline. But there is a safe harbor where the Hold's rivers meet the sea, and astride it sits the City of Solitude. If Hafengar is the skull of the headdress, then Solitude is the Uxelbein and the skull. A Nord's idea of a metropolis, to be sure, with little in the way of flowers or scentworms, or warm mud springs to relax in. Still, this one enjoyed some comforts across Tamriel, smuggled through the port, for apparently the people here discourage open trade with outsiders. I intended to travel with the caravan from Solitude to Orsnium, but the accent of these Nords confounded me so much that I ended up on a cart bound for another of Western Skyrim's hold. This one they call Hjalmarch. When I saw it, I was for the first time on my journey woeful to be gone from home. Its bogs and marshes, though draped with frost, reminded me of the fetid quagmires of Blackmarsh. The crannogs and mud huts of this place are pale imitations of those found in my homeland, though. And they extract so little substance from the fertile rot. They sate themselves mostly with fishing and trapping, and think nothing of the fermenting roots basting in the brine beneath their feet. I sought to evangelize the locals of Morthal, the Hold's capital, but to no meaningful effect. Alas. I did find that their sod and log houses make for excellent beating grounds for termite grubs. I am drying some as I write this to make snacks for the village juveniles. My plans to reach Orsnium thwarted, I decided that I may as well visit the third of Western Skyrim's holds. Carthald, they call it. Though these Nords also speak of the village of Carthwatch. Already have I been confused between the two, and each time I see the local dryskins look at me as though I have erected the spine of jubilation at a bone feast, so this take me. This far from the frozen Sea of Ghosts, this hold features the best weather to be found in Western Skyrim. The crags, however, rip through the ground and make planting haphazard at best. Though barren, this land remains a battleground between the Nords of Western Skyrim and the stick-loving Reachfolk to the south. My visit to Carthwatch, could they truly think of no other namesires than the River Carth? The Hold's main settlement was memorable. Arrayed like a fortress upon the stone bluffs, its mission was to watch over Western Skyrim's neighbors to the south. This entire hold was only recently egg-hatched, within the last few years, I am told. Though I only refer to its boundaries on the map, the Dryskins here have a deep and profound attachment to the land, with some clans living here for generations. They seem suitable for the role of protecting their homeland, to be sure. Tomorrow, I finally take a cart that is thrice confirmed for Orsnium. My time in Western Skyrim, while not exactly profitable, has been an education, one I will eventually share with my shell siblings and Gideon. Okay, we won't read them all. Oh, goodness. We didn't actually talk. Were we supposed to talk to Gwendis? We didn't.
Enough hand-wringing. Let's kill this hag and get my
we read
sister
a book.
back.
And they're like, okay, good job, you talked to her. Alright. I do not know how well this is gonna go, but apparently it is now time for us to murderize Lady Asenia. It looks like a blood knight is in our way, and...
No! The ritual is almost complete. Deal with them!
Well, you can see there was a person here before us. I don't know why I blocked that. That was an instinct. Nope. Ah, I changed the quest. Blood Queen. Blood Queen. Lady of Blood. There we go. Alright.